Hello, and welcome to the Gauntlet Hangouts. My name is Lowell, and this is a second session of the Sprawl, which is a PbtA game of cyberpunk. And we are essentially taking up with our crew after an operation last time. And you will see us roll on from that. You may hear us talk about the character sheets. We're using an online Google spreadsheet to handle that. So you may see us mention that. This is my first experiment with OBS. So you may notice that a little bit of cutoff here that I'm still getting used to. This is a Google Hangouts call, video call. So we'll see how well this works. So we talked about clearing harm from last time. So that's pretty easy. You got paid, I believe. That was one of the selections that you actually did get paid last time. So essentially, you're going to give yourself another 3 cred. So you've got 8 cred. And you may be asking yourselves, what does that mean? What can cred be used for in this game? Let me give you a quick rundown of what things cost, just in general. So 1 cred will get you useful information from a contact, basic gear, unreliable gang members from muscle, a chauffeur. Those are all things from that. 2 cred will get you like a getaway driver, a wheelman, get a hacker, professional muscle, essentially a specialized op to help you out. A street doc for gunshot wounds, more complex gear, and then 4 cred is more expensive illegal stuff. 8 cred is cutting edge military or extraordinarily expensive gear from a fixer like cyber decks, military vehicles, most cyberware. So that's the basic rundown of the prices. Kurt has just messaged me, so I'm going to quickly reply back to him. Our crew is in Mexico City. In the sprawl of this, we described the sort of mountain areas nearby as being essentially the elites have carved that out to make great big sections of sort of closed off, gated, high-tech communities. And then downtown in sort of the center around our beanstalk is what I've heard it referred to, essentially the mass line that runs up to orbit, the orbital launch line. There's a lot of corporate offices in the immediate perimeter circle around that, and then it's built up. On the lowest levels is all of the sort of the maintenance stuff. But as you get higher, it gets more elite. So we have a lot of air traffic, essentially grav vehicles, that kind of thing. So they will move up into the air, and so you can move about in that way. And then sprawling out in the distance, heading out, we have just large enclaves of essentially, we've got a sort of a ring of what we call the sort of the middle tier blocks. We described them last time as a little bit like the Judge Dredd blocks in some ways, essentially patrolled and contained areas, and then shanty towns, essentially that Mexico City is a corporate hub. It's where people have migrated to as areas have fallen out. With the collapse of the United States in the north, there's been a lot of immigration down into this area. And imagine that this is a sun-baked cyberpunk as opposed to sort of the rain and darkness of Blade Runner in Los Angeles. Here, it's dry, it's dusty. There's that Denzel Washington film that takes place in Mexico City where he's dealing with the kidnapping. If you've ever seen that, it's got this bright yellow look to everything. So our colors sort of on the ground are like ochre brown, yellow, bleached out white. All of that is sort of on the ground. When we get up to the elite areas, that's when we start to see gold, when we start to see reds and greens and things like that. And the sort of there's a big distinction in color there. Kurt's not going to be able to make it, and he had told me before that he had some issues that might pop up. So your driver can drive you around. We will assume that he is doing that, but probably not running anybody over like last time. But what I want to do is I want to start with getting a sense of like how you imagine the daily lives and things of your characters. What you imagine your existence is outside of being called up on these missions. Talk a little bit about that, and then I'll throw you to a mission. Bob, tell me, when Bob is not immediately on the job, what is he doing? Where do we see him at?
Oh man, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So Bob is actually always working because you can't really, it's like being on call 24/7. So when the phone rings, he always picks it up. He just has that mannerism of like always on it, type A
Mm-hmm.
personality. So he's hanging out in the neighborhood, and the whole thing with his neighborhood is keeping it nice and I say safe, but for him, safe so that there's nobody trying to hunt him down. He knows what's happening. He can always have his feelers out. Giving kids some candy. That sounds horrible, but you know,
Right.
giving kids like maybe credits to go buy some toys or something when they give him information about what new things did you see. And he's older, so he's more established, a little gray like myself, so he can pull that kind of stuff off, and everybody loves him. So I'm checking in with the gangs, seeing what they're up to, spreading a little love. What's that? Uh, giving donations and stuff to folks,
Right.
holding barbecues.
Yeah.
So
Walking around, handing out a little baksheesh, talking to people, hitting them up on that. Um,
yeah,
what is the name of the sort of the go-to gang around your area that has some rapport with you?
yeah. We'll say the Sour Peppers.
Sour peppers.
Yeah, they're just a motor street gang, so they got maybe cars or bikes or something and drive around and they do racing, a lot of
Okay.
drag racing. So that's really their thing, get more money to upgrade their cars.
Yeah, and I imagine, especially in that area, that it's a lot of DIY engine building, that kind of thing. And
Yes.
So yeah, you'll talk to let's Tomas is the leader that works with you, and he will say, "I heard some stuff went down at the block next door to yours. Like I heard some crazy shit. Like somebody driving their car around in the building."
Oh, yeah. Well, things always get crazy over there, but did you check out that news channel? There's like a reporter all over that.
Yeah, it was embedded. Had all kinds of high end video. There's some nasty stuff, some vehicular things. I had to get it. My kid was watching it, so it had the fade out. So I had to pull it up on my
Oh,
channel so I could see the full HD detail. But yeah, yeah. Do you know what that was about?
I, I've heard some things. Do I trust this person?
Yeah, yeah.
Or this
This
is
is
just
this is a go to gang for you. This Tomas is got your back.
okay. Yeah, no, I let them know like the people that were involved because there was that company. I forget the name of the company, but that was tracking down the guy. I don't tell him about the guy, but I say, so this company came in, and you know how they are, the corporations disrupting everything, and killed some other gangers. I don't know if you heard of blah blah blah, you know.
Okay. Oh
And
yeah, yeah. I know those guys. They're a mess.
yeah, well, they're a lot more messed up now because the walls are covered in some of their blood. But, ooh, man, it was crazy. I don't have any more. Oh, thank you. Yeah, Tier Nexium. It was a Tier Nexium strike force. And
Oh,
oh,
oh.
man, the cyber they had, it was crazy.
You know, you get those guys. There's some people around here that'll ripper dock. I mean, you take one of those guys down, get them. They can strip them like a car.
Ooh,
You know, it's Jaguar Pastas. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, you just keep that in mind. You give me a call, and I can get you a techie that can do some ripping. Okay.
Oh, heck yeah.
He never says he knew you were on site. He never suggests that, but he just sort of indirectly talks about that.
Yeah. It's like, I know some stuff. I don't give too tight of details. Like, and just tell them about the reporter trying to spread the news about the new person I met. And you call this cyber person a ripper
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
taking out the parts? Okay.
Yeah, he technically he's a
Nice.
Ripper Doc because I mean, he can actually do the stuff for the cyber implanting and stuff. But some of these guys down here, um, you know, things happen. Parts get stripped. That's what goes
Heck
on.
yeah. This is
Uh,
very good information. You know, hey, enjoy that barbecue.
oh yeah, 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 yeah. Molly, um, when you are not on the job, what is it that you are doing?
So I think you see one of these typical scenes where Molly is, exits like a nice shiny building and it's very clean and heads towards the blocks and like what we saw last session, um, and is going to visit family.
Okay.
So she goes back and, she goes into the poor area and you see her take an elevator and it's not up too far. It's only up like 4 or 5 flights. And then she gets out and she goes to a nice door and hits the tag next to it and it opens up. It spirals, it opens and she steps inside and she takes off her shoes and she divests herself of her weapons and sets them off to the side, like on the little shelf where the shoes go, and then goes in. And her sister and mother are there. And her mother is ailing. And um, Molly goes and fixes some tea and then sits down. This is a very traditional Japanese style living room, and she pours tea for her mother and her sister, and then they sit down. Her sister appears to be a caretaker, and they just quietly sip tea and occasionally tell each other about what's going on in their day.
So let me ask you this: do you imagine that your family is first or second generation from Japan? Do you imagine it's longer than that from America, or it's actually a very large Japanese population in Peru? I think the Peruvian president, and I think it's Peru, was
Brazil, probably.
no, actually, I'm
Is
sure
it
it's not Brazil.
Okay?
But it was a group that had there, and they actually have a strong ethnic community there. So
So,
what do you think?
um, so I have a coworker from Brazil, and he said that it's very common in Brazil also to have a strong Japanese
Oh,
community.
good.
Um, but I think that they actually, these people have been in Mexico for a long time. Her family have been in Mexico for a long time. However, they cling to their roots. So there's this tradition. They are acclimated to the society. They fit in very well. However, they were brought up very traditionally. Yeah.
Your sister wants to speak with you privately in that way, respectful, going into the other room with your mother there. Um, and she says they increase the price of the meds again?
Ah,
I was able to scrape together to handle this month and the next, but we're going to need some more from you.
that's not unexpected. We know that her condition is degenerative, so I understand.
And remind me, what corporation was it that you were with originally?
Let me look.
Was
I
it
think
Tiernexium? Or was it Nilpani? I'm trying to remember.
I don't show it written down. I don't think I have it. So I don't recall.
I think
We can.
let's say it's Tiernexium because I do think it might be that.
Yep,
Um,
perfect.
so she will say, someone from Tiernexium called.
You didn't tell them that I lived here, did you?
No, I told them that we thought you were dead.
Thank you. That's
But
right. That's what we've rehearsed.
yes, she says, but they. I had the sense that they didn't believe that, and they were aware of the increase in costs for mother's medicine. And they
Uh,
suggested that information about your location could help offset that. I just wanted to tell you.
I will see what I can do to take care of that end of things. And again, I am dead to you.
I, yes.
You're a good sister.
Molly, how do you feel about the fact that your mother kind of doesn't acknowledge when you come in? Like somehow maybe she's written you out of her life or her memories or perceptions?
So I think to a certain extent this is um she disapproves of me leaving the house and going and taking my own jobs. It's sort of an independence she does not approve of. And so I think that there's this warm tradition as we sit down and serve each other tea and share the tea and share a snack that is comforting to us both and almost an acknowledgement. Even though we don't speak, there's still obligation and family between us. But deep down, I feel very guilty that I went off and did my own thing.
I think we kind of cut away on that silence of that scene.
If you don't mind,
Oh, yeah.
whenever I go to leave, I think I'm going to leave like a couple of credit chits there on the table. So you mentioned a cost of medicine. That would that be one cred? So
Yeah,
additional would be two?
yeah, I would assume that you adding another cred into the kitty would help her offset that.
Okay, so I'll do that.
Um, Jace, we go from that silence to our reporter. What do we see our reporter doing? What are you up to when we come back to you?
Well, I mean, that story was great for my profile. And because of that, there's a shot that I may be able to bring some attention to something that's really been bothering me. And that is a remarkable lack of anything resembling clean water in the slums, which I think Jace calls them Las Madrigueras, the Warrens. And he's really trying to document this, like filming what comes out of the taps, talking to families, like footage of kids who are sick from drinking this water to bring whatever pressure he can to bear on whatever corporations can at least act like they care. Because I get the feeling there's not a lot of functional city government, and that what there is pretty much just engaged in filtering as much wealth upward and as far upward as quickly as possible as it can. So
Well, yeah, certainly the neighborhood level is probably the most successful at doing anything. But once you get above that level, things break down.
yeah,
You have the other problem that you've got thermal events that happen here. You're at a high altitude. They get inversions that bring the smog and pollution and hold it down on the city level. And at that point, everybody has to have rebreathers. But it's also depending on the days, especially in the summer, because of the ozone depletion. It can hit 105, 106 Fahrenheit. So you've got places trying to desperately figure out ways to cool. You've got freon thieves stealing from various air conditioning places. But you probably on the ground, especially you're dealing with the water situation, there is a sort of a new movement of DIY, essentially street scrappers who are building the equivalent of still suits for people, essentially personal jackets that reclaim body water and sweat and things like that. And then that's what people are moving towards.
yeah, and that's great and all. And I've covered that in the past, but I'm looking at families that don't even have anything close to the money that it needed to scrape together the creds for even one still suit, much less for 5 people, especially when those people are growing. So I am literally looking at people who are using last century tech, where they've scraped it. They've got like a community pot to boil the water in, and then they filter it through sand and cloth to try to get as many impurities out as they can. And sure, that deals with some of the pathogens, and it deals with and it filters out at least some of the particulate matter. But this still isn't shit anyone should be drinking anything remotely resembling long term. And I think what I've decided, in my mind anyway, I don't even really care which corporation should be helping. I'm just going to pick one and shame them until they do.
Okay, so you're working on your targeting of those corps, trying to find who is a possible one to lean on for this.
I already know which one I'm fingering.
Dantaku.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I'll apologize later if I find out who's actually responsible, but in the meantime, I want to force them to act.
One of the things you will pick up is that at the present moment, some of the stuff that would be handling infrastructure and ought to be dealing with that's about property management, some construction, infrastructure, things like that, is what happens with these corporations, because they're so big. Sometimes they will attempt to create sort of merged partnership corporations. They're essentially they're kind of a gamble to see if they'll work out. They create these things, and then of course, if they create something that's successful, then the corporations battle over who actually has control of it. They're called.
So it's like, if they have a good first date, then it gets bad. Dysfunctional. Real quick.
Yeah. It's a fractal corporation. It's kind of a ghost thing, and the one that has sort of emerged now that is a target is called Metropolitana Global, and essentially it's a link up of Oyamato, RPM, and Dantaku, essentially trying to get some contracts to help people out, but
and that was Metropolitana
Global, so just MG.
Global. And it's RPM, Dontaku.
and Oyamato.
Okay.
And that's probably the lead that you'll pick up in the course of your reporting there. I'm going to cut to Bob. Bob, you're a fixer, but you have a fixer, a job fixer that does things. And so you get a call from your fixer, Miss Obregon. And Miss Obregon says, Mr. Higgins, how are you this fine day?
Oh, beautiful, and much better now that I hear from you.
I have a job that I think might be up you and your team's alley, as it were.
Oh, beautiful. You know I source the best.
Absolutely. So I'm going to give you who to meet with and talk to. A standard cut. And I'm calling you first because I trust you, because this is a higher profile job that I'm offering you.
Oh, I definitely can do it.
Oh, okay. I want you to go to this location, and names a very fancy, like upscale hotel, like residential kind of thing. Take your team as you need to. The person there will go over the details. You're going to meet with a man named Jagger. He is the assistant to the person who is hiring you. And all I will say is that the person who's hiring you is a high-profile figure, and doing well by her will look good for you in the future.
Oh, excellent. Have you had business with this person in the past?
I have a minor scale. She doesn't tend to work with our people. Usually, and when you meet her, I think you'll see exactly what I mean by that.
Oh, excellent, excellent. Well, I look forward to this. I assume we keep everything hush-hush as usual.
Absolutely. This is all on encrypted line. You get your people, small team, discreet, and you can negotiate with her about a payment and setups and all of that. Reasonable?
Oh, yes, yes. Well, you know I definitely owe you for this.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Excellent. Thanks, Miss Obregon. Obregon.
Obregon. And yeah, she clicks off, and you get that little encrypted thing that's in the bottom of your corner will fade out. Got that tight security on that.
Nice.
And so I assume you call up your companions. Would you take Molly and Jace to this kind of meet?
Oh, definitely. Well, Jace is, my number one right there, so that's the first person I call up. But yeah, I would definitely get Molly involved. Hey guys, Jace.
Go on.
Now I know something interesting's going on if you're calling.
Of course. Sounds like we got a line on some work. You might be able to pay rent another month.
Well, that's what I live to do. Grind it out so I can exist week to week.
With a few rewards, right?
Any idea what the job is?
Not yet, but it's got to be hush-hush, and it's going to be for a high-profile client. So I need you to dress up. We're going to this fancy hotel. I assume I've heard of it.
Oh yeah.
MC?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I drop it, like, Ritz-Carlton, $2 million.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Do you own any ties? No, I don't think you need a tie, but just
So you want me to put on my good flak jacket, the one that I put on when company comes over?
exactly. But I've never worked with them before, so be frosty.
Does
You're,
the job come from a reliable source?
Yes, yeah. So somebody that I do work with, we trade favors. Pointed me in the direction of this Mrs. Johnson. So I trust the source, but this person I've never worked with, and that's
Okay.
where our money's coming from.
As long as the check clears.
And we will cut to you arriving at this high-end place. You can see that there are essentially air pads on the top of it. Like a lot of people come and go via air rather than going anywhere on the ground around here. And you will go in and present yourself at the front desk after they kind of give you a scowl a little bit.
I clean up okay.
Yeah, it's more of a question of Molly and Jace being a little less
Oh,
auspicious, shall we say? And you will see this guy comes over, young man, looks like he's maybe in his mid-20s. That sort of sharp, his hair is styled and carefully done. It has a kind of a dimensionality and architecture to it that speaks of a lot of money. Synth leather jacket. It's all that silver and sparkle. Has pins through it. A bodysuit down there on him, and not armed at all. But he will say, "I am Society Jagger. Are you Mr. Higgins?
oh yes. Pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you. Let us go on upstairs. We've got the top suite, a fan, or letting us use it for the week. And
Excellent.
we'll lead you back to one of those private, this goes up to the top elevators. Swipes the card on that as you step in. He has that relaxed look of somebody who's probably taken some anti-anxiety medicines to get him ready to meet with dangerous people. And he kind of leans against the back of the elevator as you go up. And eventually it will open up. And when it does, it's almost like you're outside because there's so much glass and light being sort of funneled in. Has it very open, almost like a greenhouse kind of effect to it. Very expensive. Lots of water being used here. All kinds of plants and things. And you will see sort of in the middle, as you kind of come down these big marble steps, middle of a room, there's garbage thrown all over the place, like crumpled up papers and trash and things. And it's actually kind of like someone has rolled out a bedroll, like a sleeping bag there, and has weirdly kind of set up a camp. They pulled some chairs and tables over and desks, like they're living rough in the middle of this luxury. And you will see. Yep.
Sorry, how's it smell?
It still smells good because this hotel has a lot of cleaners and room service, so it's probably Febreze pumped in on a regular basis.
Nice.
But you will see this young woman, and she is sitting there. She's heavily pierced. You can see she's got some cosmetic and non-cosmetic cyber implants. And she looks up as you come in, and just in general, you three will recognize her as a multimedia anarchist poly-rocker by the name DJ Snow. She is if we were playing Cyberpunk 2020, this is a glitter boy, essentially anti-corporate multimedia musician and activist. she does shows, and she's supported by a volunteer network setting those things up, and she can generate riots against corporations if she sets her mind to it. And she looks up as you come in. She's one of those people who does like the multi-sensory broadcasts, not just music, but probably plugins for endorphin releases on time things. It's all synthesized and put together. And she will stand up and say, "You're the mercs, the operatives, the what do we call you?"
Yeah. Oh, we're just your friends. We're
Okay.
your friends that help get things done. But my name's Bob, and I am so amazed to meet you. I love your music, or
Oh,
your performances, I should say.
good.
And this is my people, Molly and Jace.
She actually steps over to you, like gets in your space, and like takes your hand and shakes your hand, like makes a
Oh,
point
nice.
of getting up close. Molly, she'll come over to you and kind of stretch her hand out to you.
So I think that Molly came dressed in a very traditional Japanese outfit. This
Mhm.
usually puts people off, but I think in the elevator up, I'm sure there were scanners and stuff, and the guards, see the weaponry implanted and everything, and they're like, okay, we know who to watch now. So whenever she comes over to me, I think I do the traditional, a little bit of a bow, and then I kind of, reach out and take her hand and shake it with a firm handshake.
And then she'll turn to you, Jason, put her hand out for you.
Seriously, Holly, you're gonna do me like that?
So you think you
I mean,
know DJ Snow then?
I think that many years ago, at least, and this is probably when she was 10, maybe 11 years old. I helped her create a new identity because she came from the Warrens. And it was one of those things where her folks just got caught in the crossfire. There's a couple of gangs shooting it out over something stupid. And they were just trying to get her inside. And I covered the murders, and I couldn't let that go. And so I set up what I could for her. I taught her how to use some tech. And it's been quite a while since we talked. She's obviously operating at a very different level. But I sincerely hope that she never forgot where she came from.
So she will look at you and she will say, "Oh man, years have not been kind, huh?"
Well, don't make a lot of money down there to keep them kind, do we?
Fair enough. So this is the move. Declare a contact. Is how that works then.
All right.
Okay.
And what do I roll with there?
You don't actually roll. Declare a contact is when you need a favor, establish a new contact. You name and describe the contact. Say why they owe you a favor, why you owe them a favor, and you add the contact to your list. So each session you can do that. Each mission you can do that to kind of establish some things, and that she knows you certainly relaxes her. And is a little more at ease there. I'm gonna wait till Trey reboots.
Gotcha.
So I think whenever we walk into this place, there's a lot of opulence and there's a lot of water. And I think Molly steals a look over at Jace to see how he reacts to, all of this wealth, because he seems to be someone who overreacts whenever we go into a place where there is waste, especially that the people down below could use.
What do
I
you
think that side eye. What do I see?
You know, Society Jagger mentioned that a fan was letting her use it for free. This isn't her spending her money. This is some rich asshole wasting theirs. You know, yes, she does this stuff, but I can't say that I know her now. I knew her briefly as a child. Can't even say that I knew who she was then. But given everything that she's done since, I mean, starting anti corporate riots, propaganda broadcasts, if she has to spend money to remain in the position where she can do the things that she does with as few consequences as she seems to incur, I think she's doing the right thing. And you can always question whether you can actually change a system from inside it or break a machine while you're operating in it.
Yeah. And just
She's
to
screwing it up.
Yeah, just because she tries to work as much as she can outside the corporate system. So, she tickets privately. She gets people to set up places for her to do her shows, that kind of thing. You know, she's the one who organizes flash mobs against corporate areas and that kind of thing. Let me ask you just to kind of follow up on this. Molly, why don't you tell me something that happened in your past where you were involved in some kind of aspect or cross paths in some kind of aspect with DJ Snow's political art?
So I don't usually involve myself with politics. However, um, I think that there were a couple of her fans that were um, trying to they were basically, I guess, forming a hit, and I got caught in the crossfire. They were very amateurish at what they were doing. They weren't very good. They left their names everywhere. They left their, we're doing this because of, DJ Snow and we stand with her and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, you know, you guys are going to foobar things. Yeah.
And you pulled them out of that?
I
Sorry.
think I pulled part of one of them out.
Okay.
I think that person, I think one of them died and the other is heavily augmented at this point.
Okay. That works for me. Bob, are you back with us? Nope. Okay. We will. So one of the things we'll do is since we've got a little thing. Are you back with the tech? Okay.
We're good now. We
Okay.
should be good.
Sure.
Yay.
I've had a thing where I can't use Chrome with Hangouts because Chrome has decided I don't have a camera, so I have to do it with Firefox. So, yay.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So Bob, you've crossed paths. How have you crossed paths with, or been involved with, or seen the effects of Snow's political art?
Well, I've been watching her, and definitely when things, because I don't get along with, all my notes are gone. I want to say Tyrnexium.
Mm-hmm.
I just, can't stand Tyrnexium. I'm always getting beat up by them, losing money to them. And so I really got into her music because it was that anti, all corpse, but she had some good songs against Tyrnexium and their life improvement programs. And it's like, yeah. So what I've seen is like little movements kind of like Occupy, Occupy the park right in front of the, megaplex that has like a Tyrnexium warehouse.
Okay.
And that kind of stuff. A rave right in front of it.
Yeah.
Those kind of protests.
The kind of thing that ends up with warehouses getting torn open and things getting redistributed.
Yeah, there you go. A little Robin Hood action.
Okay. she will say, I have a problem, and I would like you three to take care of it for me. My tour manager, Cyrus Swan, he oversees all the aspects of things. He's put a lot of it in place. So we have the first show of the new tour at Estadio Azteca tonight. We're running for a few more days, and then we're heading on to Brazil. Cyrus Swan, my tour manager, I haven't heard from him in 3 days. And I need you to find Swan. And when you find Swan, liaise with society on what the next step is. I have an operative in my network who works here in Mexico City, and I can put him in contact with you with what he knows, and we'll get you a safe house to work out of.
Do you want Swan dead?
No, I want Swan back, alive.
Ah.
He's important. He knows the details of the tour. He's been a backbone of the operations, and we need him. And and he's a friend.
Does he disappear often?
No. The 3 days is too much. I mean, at most, he would go off and party and be out of contact for, maybe a night. But that's rare as it is.
Define party. What does he get into?
I mean, she looks at you. She goes, "It's this kind of life," and she's a tour manager. Nothing too heavy. We're certainly not partying with celebrities or anything like that. It's with the fans.
Okay, that makes it even more relevant. I mean, are we looking for him in drug dens? Or are we looking for him in sex clubs? Are we looking for him in red rooms? I'm not trying to bust you out on this one. I just need to know where we start looking.
He is the usual kind of partier. I wouldn't expect him to be in any of those places. And 3 days, certainly not.
Okay. If we find out that he got caught up in anything that's, shall we say, politically challenging for you,
then you'll liaise with society, and we'll figure out where to go from there.
All right.
His behavior, it seemed, usual. There hasn't been anything. We're getting started on this new leg of the tour. We just arrived here in Mexico City a week ago, getting things set up. So it wasn't anything out of the ordinary. My contact who will speak with you has informed me that he's got some details on what we know about his movements on the day that he went missing.
All right. Who's your operative?
His name is Dario Santim.
And what's your connection with this operative?
He is a person who has worked as a procurement security person here in Mexico City for us in the past. Former corp, now does freelance work and has been sympathetic to our cause.
Which corp?
I'm not sure. You'd have to ask him.
Is there anyone who would want you or your friend dead?
She looks at you. She says, any corporate group doesn't want us.
So all the corps.
I would say that, if you're going to look for someone who would wish us harm, the corporations have not appreciated my message, have not appreciated my work, has not appreciated the work of the people that I've mobilized.
But you haven't gotten any specific threats?
My threats I've gotten have been mostly legal if they're specific. Those kinds of challenges that I've had to get teams of lawyers to handle. But other death threats are more generic.
So, do you normally camp out in the best room in the place?
She says, "This is an unpleasant bourgeois den, and I would feel ashamed if I made use of all the amenities here, and yet I understand that I need to be in a place that is secure."
Interesting. All right. Well,
So, one of the things we
I'd like
do.
to pour aside for a second.
Okay,
what's that?
I'm sorry. Let me. Is this going to affect the job negotiations?
No.
Okay. Then let me do that first.
Sure.
So, what we're going to have here is someone needs to roll the get a job move, or get the job move, which is a move with edge. And I don't know if anybody has any moves that impact that.
All right, I've got edge 2. And then would that declare contact have any effect on it?
No, but essentially the fiction for calling in a favor.
Okay.
So go ahead and roll with edge.
That is a 7 plus 2 is a 9.
9. So if you look on the Moves To tab, or if you have the sheets printed out, the Get a Job, when you negotiate the terms of a job, roll edge. On a 10 plus, you choose 3. On a 7 to 9, you choose 1. And those are the 5 there. Employer identifiable is not an option because we've already established that.
So let me ask you this. With
Sure.
call in favor, is there any way to kick that up in the fiction to a 10?
Yeah, let's do it that way. That seems like you cash that in, you pull on those strings, and yeah, let's say we do that up to that.
All right, so the 4 options we have are useful information or assets from the employer, that's information and assets are 2 different things.
Mm-hmm.
The job pays well, and the meeting doesn't attract attention. What do you think? Which of these do we want to go for?
I want the job to pay well.
I would concur.
So job pays well.
It might also bode well if we didn't attract too much attention.
Be able to operate quietly.
Okay.
Yes.
I was also thinking that, but I wanted to put it up to like a vote and decisions.
And then gear, you use on the job to produce equipment on the fly. Intel, you can reveal knowledge of your opposition's preparations. You describe how you discovered that, and you spend intel, and essentially it gives you +1 forward.
What do y'all think?
I'm fine with
Assets or
either.
intel?
It's up to you.
All right.
Yeah. I trust you, Jace.
All right, Jace.
Let's go with assets then.
Okay. So on the clock page, I will put gear 1. And then you'll also be able to, essentially, when you go to research, hit the street, that kind of thing. Those are ways to get additional intel and gear when you're kind of doing the legwork phase of the mission. So you wanted to say something to her?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, listen, You know where I am. You know where I operate. You know where I come from. And you know how things operate down there. Is there any chance this is anyone from your past that's trying to come back and make noise?
She says there's always a chance of that, but
Is it likely?
I haven't seen anything that would indicate that to me.
You know,
Do you want to assess her?
yeah, let's assess.
Okay. Let's have you roll with Edge. And then I'll come back and check in with Molly and Jace.
That's a 9.
There's a 9. So what question do you want to ask? And you can modify this a little since the assess questions are really fairly directed.
I think that it's actually almost exactly as written. What do I notice despite her effort to conceal it?
That the question you're asking about, could it be somebody from her past, bothers her not because it is someone from her past, but that it makes her realize how far she is away from that. Like she's far gone from those connections. That, I mean, she's international, she's doing good stuff, you know, anti-corporate. She is working hard on that 24/7. But you know, that means she's also, you know, kind of burnt where she came from in her mind.
Mm-hmm.
Does that seem fair?
Fair enough.
Okay. She
Just
will.
want to say one last thing to her.
Sure.
You're doing good work. You know, you may not be able to go home, but the people who are still there, you're helping every last one of them, and it's a whole lot more than you could have helped if you'd stayed.
She will nod. She will look at you, Molly. Bob, she will say, she'll hand you a card. She says, this is the location of the safe house. Here's security codes. And I will have Dario meet you there and give you the details. I hope to hear from you guys soon.
Oh yeah, we're committed. We'll be on this.
And society will come and will show you back down to the ground level.
Is that Jagger's last name?
It's Society Jagger.
Society, thank you.
Yeah. Let's take a 5-6 minute break, and when we come back, we will start. We'll meet up at the safe house, talk with Dario, and start the legwork phase of the mission.
Excellent.
Okay. there's another odd thing with the Hangouts call, as opposed to the Hangouts on air, is that it will go to, for my camera, it goes to each of you, but it won't show me on the camera. I have to manually click myself when I talk.
I noticed as soon as you clicked the OBS to record, your quality went down.
Yeah.
It was almost as if you went from HD to SD. Now, your audio and everything is completely fine. I just wanted to mention that as a artifact, it seemed.
Yeah, it definitely is eating a portion of the processing power.
And is this the OBS, is that intended to record and then upload to YouTube? Does it do that automatically?
So what I have done, and this is kind of experiment tonight, is YouTube has a streaming code that allows me to stream directly in Jitsi. You can do that. So I've put the streaming code into OBS, and it should be streaming directly to YouTube, where it will be processed and recorded there. The other option would be to record locally and then upload it to how do I put this, to YouTube, which would be a massive pain in the ass, because those files are huge, and my connection is not that great because I'm in America.
Ooh. So I'm gonna say, I've had several friends, over the past few years. I'll go to a convention and they'll say, "Hey, I saw you on YouTube playing some game," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's with the Gauntlet. You should totally play with the Gauntlet." So I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Well, that's how we got Tyler, Patrick, even Jim Crocker, all from watching videos.
Nice.
Trey is having some weird flash back and forth issues.
Oh, can you even see me?
What it's doing is it's flashing between your static panel to like a picture of you at your computer like thing. It was just sort of flipping back and forth.
And I wasn't okay. It just does not want to cooperate. I'm gonna kill it one more time and get back in.
Okay. These programs. Once again,
I jinxed it by saying that Hangouts was, never had any problems at the very beginning. So yeah.
Well, and this, yeah, Hangouts on air had very few issues.
Yeah.
There we go.
I say it's not you. It's definitely me. This computer's gonna be replaced very soon.
I built my computer. This is one story before I move in, and I was like, my room upstairs is hot. I'm gonna get one of those super cooler things. I mounted that on there, got all the stuff, put it all together, and I was like, I got this done. This is sweet, right? And I get it done, and I'm like, oh man. And I'm like, actually, I should add some more RAM because I got 2 slots that are empty. Well, I realized that because I mounted the supercooler on there, I can't get to those 2 slots. I would have to disassemble the whole processor and take that all apart and then try to re-put that back in if I were to do that. And I don't know if I have the heart to do that because it was a pain in the ass to put together. So, anyway. What do you think this safe house is like? What kind of place would this crew set up for you, Bob? What do you think?
Gosh, it's horrible. I imagine some hippie den. So what I'm thinking is behind some type of business, but they don't serve food. Like they sell maybe clothes. I won't go with incense, though I want to. But they sell clothes and shoes and just help people out with that kind of, not help people, sorry, sell that kind of stuff to people. And so behind it would be the warehouse, or not warehouse, but like a safe house area, some kind of, space that not everybody doesn't see a lot of traffic and we can do what we need to.
So like a reclaimed materials kind of, bespoke clothing area out front.
Yes.
And they walk you through, and this is pretty clearly this safe house is used for criminal operations from time to time, or at least maybe even anti-corporate operations. And it definitely has a pretty decent hookup, and they get you back there. Molly, what's one piece of security that this place does have?
I think it has an basically it's a fail safe that's an EMP pulse. So that means that if everything goes sideways, you hit this button and it'll kill everything within the building. It's a small area and fry the electronics in that area.
Excellent. And Jace, what's a resource or asset or another piece of security that is present on this safe house?
Well, they've done some heavy duty stuff here, because there's some high end medical gear here.
Okay.
Like the kind of stuff that you only need if somebody has been seriously opened up. So it's basically
Like hospital grade equipment.
not necessarily hospital grade, but certainly like trauma medic grade. So, it's the stuff that'll keep you alive long enough to get you to a hospital.
There are probably a couple of those like trauma cabs, life cabs, things like that, those competing services for that. And you will note the symbol of the trauma service that is the most sort of highly corporate, just for elites sign. Like clearly somebody took down one of their vehicles and stripped this out from that. And it is set up here. And you will, when you get there, you will see there is a gentleman waiting for you, medium height, that kind of deep, almost chestnut skin, like a combination of being, strongly Hispanic, but also just sun-baked as well. This is Dario, and he definitely gives you an eye, like he's uncertain what to make of you, and he will say, "Which of you is in charge?" You're muted, Bob. Okay.
I was just going to say, Bob.
Yeah, that would be me. Good to meet you.
He'll hold out his hand. He's probably in his late 40s. Where you've kind of aged a little more gracefully, he has not. He shows his age there.
Well, it's good to meet you, Dario. I understand you might have some information that could help us out.
I've got the basics of what we know about what happened with Swan. It's sketchy, but it may help you figure it out. 3 days ago, he had a private driver. Been standard operating procedure with that. Picked him up from his hotel at about 9:30, 9:35. We know that at about 20 minutes later, at about 9:55, Swan's car was stopped by the police in Casco Viejo. Then at about noon, Swan was seen entering an office building in one of the suburbs of Mexico City, an area called, I've got the name here, sorry, That would have been good if I had maybe even marked out what it was. Right, counter stupid. How is it that I wrote this down 3 times and now I can't find it?
The elusive.
It's so frustrating to me when I do this. What is? We'll call it Destello. An office building in the Destello area at about noon. And at about 2 p.m., his car was seen, or rather the car that he was picked up in was seen driving south on the Cinta Costera, which is a tightly controlled transport stream that heads down south of the city. That's what I have right now. And Swan's important, and Snow wanted us to put you guys into play.
And what's your relation to Swan or DJ Snow?
I've been security overseeing that for the last couple of years. I used to do, and he kind of looks around in that way that says, like you guys, I used to do corporate work.
Gotcha. That's right. The corporate work. Which corporation?
He looks, well, I'll tell you, and then you can tell me. How about that?
All right. Yeah.
Metropolitana Global, when they were just starting out here. That was who I worked for last.
Man, I don't really know my corp, do I?
Well, we got that under clocks. Which corp do you
Work for? It's not Miss
let's see here.
Oberlin?
You were owned. Oh, you were owned by RPM.
Was I owned by them?
Yeah, in a sense that
I know it.
you owe
Lost
them.
out to them.
Yeah.
Oh yes, that's right. I
Yeah.
owe them a ton of money. Oh yeah, I'm always paying off RPM. Can't stand them. And Tyrnexium, all the people.
He says, okay, yeah. I know I've had some contacts with RPM. They're part of the trio that make up MG.
MG.
Metropolitana Global. I would just call it MG around here.
Yeah, I tell you, yeah, they're always taking more than we have. But that's all right. That's why we got to skim a little off the top here and there. All right, so
Dario,
this driver you trusted, everybody had an eye on him. Do we know why he got pulled over by the police?
Not yet. I haven't had a chance to dig much further. DJ Snow called me off before I dug any deeper. Wanted professionals, a team doing it.
Gotcha. And do you have any people we could talk to, more local?
If you get into the site, I can give you some contact names, people on the street. Essentially, he can provide you with a folio that you can use to generate contacts.
Okay. And you say on the site? Sorry.
Like if you're checking out the site and talking to people, he can give you some names of people to talk to.
Okay. Cool. I'll take those.
He'll look over at you, then Molly, as if to say, "Do you have any questions?"
Have you ever worked as a bodyguard for DJ Snow and everyone?
That's how I started out.
Yeah.
Moved up.
And what kind of corpse did you have to what corpse did you have history with that we might want to specifically know about the interactions with?
he pauses there. He's absorbed. You see him like process what you've said, try to make sure that you aren't accusing him of anything, and he will say, "I worked for MG in the early days. That's a mix-up of Oyamato, Dantaku, and RPM at each other's throats, trying to control things. So I have business with all of them."
Meaning that you had to protect DJ Snow and her crew from that.
No, I mean, if you asked who I had worked for, and that's who I worked for. DJ Snow,
I mean, during your bodyguard work, who did you have to protect her from?
mostly crazed fans, a handful of corporate stooges, people who bought in. We had a guy down in Venezuela who had essentially thought that Burger King was the end all and be all of food, like wouldn't brook any kind of commentary against them. And he tried to get up on stage with a vibro knife and cut her. There's a lot of these people that get their identities tied up with corporations. I mean, you should see the nastiness you get when we talk about PlayStation. Those people are nuts. Anything we talk about that, we had when she was down with some of the miners down in Africa who were exploited for building the boards, and we pointed at Sony, and we had letters and threats for months and months afterwards.
Who's your current bodyguard?
And he'll name a couple of people. They're people I trust.
Okay.
Hey, Dario,
Yeah,
where are you from?
Panama.
You look familiar.
He goes, I don't know. I mean, I know your name. I've seen your stuff.
I get the feeling I've seen you somewhere before.
Goes, I don't know. If you've done stories, I mean, if did things on MG, it's a possibility there. But mostly the last 3 years I've been working for Snow.
Gotcha. Can you tell us anything else about this office building?
No, I hadn't had a chance to check it out yet. I'm not even sure who owns it yet. I hadn't had a chance to run that.
Yeah. Okay. It's good to be working with you, Dario.
I'm just glad.
Seem like a real man of the people.
Because I don't know about that, but I believe in what Snow is doing, and I do my job.
One more question about that.
Okay.
You were doing work that paid pretty well, right? Working with MG, working with the Corps before that.
Mm-hmm.
Probably you had a lot fewer hassles than you have now.
Mm-hmm.
Why'd you give it up?
Pauses. I had a vision. In a church. And that's all I want to say about that. Like he sounds like severely grave. Like he does not want to talk about whatever happened there. and he will say, "I will start looking around, and he will say, I will leave it in your hands to run things. I'll coordinate. I'll get on the ground as much as I can, and if you need to get a hold of people, I can help out with that."
Question: this private driver, does he work in the south of the city? Is that where he's from? Because his direction when he left was there.
The only thing I know about the driver right now is his name is Destello, but I haven't followed up on that yet.
Wait, he was in the Destello neighborhood, right?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, no, I got the wrong name there. It is. Where's my little
Also, the office building is in the Destello neighborhood.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. Yeah,
that's
was
what it
seen in
was.
Santa Costera.
yeah. Sorry, I'm getting the names
It's all good.
crossed.
Yeah, no worries. Because I was wondering if the driver was going like back to work. Yeah, I mean not back to work, like to drop off the car or whatever that is, or is it like some random direction that doesn't make sense? Like,
That is going to be a question that you can research.
gotcha.
Okay.
No worries.
So we're gonna Ignacio.
Ignacio.
Yeah,
Oh,
as there's a
Ignacio.
last name, but we'll just stick with Ignacio for the driver's name.
Works.
So.
Cool. And in whatever company he work, does he work for a company? I keep assuming he works for a company.
The driver.
Yeah, or is he that private? He's just like, this one
I
limousine
have to
guy.
check that out.
All right, but they give me his contact info.
Yeah, you guys can. So what we go at this point is we can go to moves.
Gotcha.
To check things out. The big moves are hit the street is essentially going to a contact for help, getting information. Usually it's for there's something you need in specific equipment or a very particular piece of information, things like that. And then research is investing in a person, place, object, or service. That's the other one. That's essentially the move for finding out info in that way. So you have a couple of options.
All right. So I'm kind of looking at what skill they're associated with, because I probably just want to go with the one that's kind of,
Yeah,
excuse me, better for me.
that's fair enough. Research is your mind. Hit the street is style.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, Bob.
Mm-hmm.
Let me dig into the building. I got a weird feeling about that. I think we're going to come up with some interesting records on it if we dig hard enough.
Okay. You think we should focus on that?
I'm thinking that we're going to need to. I want to know more about the driver, but I got a feeling that where I'll be most useful is in digging up stuff about this building.
Okay. Do you want us to back you up on that, or just gonna head solo?
Well, I'm just going to start hitting some databases here. It's like, yeah, I mean, you need to back me up while I sit at a keyboard. I mean,
Nice.
don't get me wrong, I appreciate it, but I'm pretty sure that I can handle a keyboard.
You sure you got this? You got the takeout numbers?
I mean, I do have a piece, so if the keyboard gets too unruly, I can just put a couple of rounds through it. That'll take care of it.
There you go. Sweet. And I'll check on this Destello guy.
Okay. Do we want to start with you, Jace?
I'm still trying to figure out which moves are going to be are going to make the most sense.
Okay.
Because I have a sneaking suspicion that hit the street in research and possibly play hardball are going to be the 3 that I'm looking at. Does that sound about right?
So play hardball means you've gotten to someone that isolated. So it's sort of once you've located somebody that you can
So,
do. So it's a follow up move effectively.
so research, then hit the street, then hardball.
Yeah, I
The way
mean
that
certainly, depending on what you find, that's a logical order to go in.
All right.
So do you want to start, or Bob? Do you want to start?
Up to you, Bob. Oh.
Yeah, I'll do a roll for hit the streets here.
Okay.
Give it a go.
All
right,
so what? Who are you going to, and what are you going to get from them? What are you looking for?
Well, I know a few people. I don't have my random name generator.
Okay.
But Tever Edvard.
Okay.
And he just knows everything that's happening, kind of, when it comes to like, just downtown, pickpockets, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna ask him about this guy.
Okay. Yeah, so you can head down to Edbird. He want him to give you some leads, some things like that. So let's go ahead and have you roll.
Excellent. So I got this thing up there. Where you going? Did have it up there. There it is. All right, submit. Roll high. It didn't erase the old numbers. Is there something I do about that? But it's a 5 either way. Oh, wait. Plus my... Sorry. Style? Yes, my style. So it's a 7.
Okay. So on a 7, he's like, what is it exactly you want to know, man? You want to know what the scuttlebutt is? Is that the deal?
Yeah, well, who this person, this driver is, or he might know about the... Sorry, I'm switching on you guys.
Sure, you say what you want.
Does he know why this guy got arrested? That'd be more appropriate to him.
He says,
police.
It is listed. And then he pauses. He goes, if you look at the 7 and 9 on Hit the Street, you choose 2 from the list below.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so... Ooh. All right, so we're going to do with... My request is going to cost extra. What? No, I'm too cheap. I'm sorry. I'll go with the second one. Your request is going to take some time to put together.
Okay.
And then, oh, man. Okay. Your contact needs you to help them out with something. If you turn them down, take -1 ongoing to,
Okay. So some time and needs your help. Is that the 2?
Yes. Yep.
He says, so are you doing something with DJ Snow? Is that what I'm understanding?
I can't really talk about it, but just know that it's important. It's really important. But we got to, keep it hush hush. How'd you hear about that?
You're asking about things that I see little connections, little lines between things.
You're so smart.
I'm not dumb. He says, so let me ask you this then. How hard would it be for you to get me, say, an autograph?
Oh, man. I got you covered. Do you send me the personalized message you want, and we'll make it happen.
Okay.
I don't know how easy it'll be, but we'll make it happen.
Okay. And he will hand that off to you.
Awesome.
And he says, I will get you the basics here. It says the traffic stop listed as a routine stop, but it looks like that the driver paid the police off. So it looks to me like the stop went fine. Like he went to the stop, paid the police off, and then moved on. Doesn't look like the police were involved with anything on that end.
Was he speeding, or they just like
He goes, "It's
busted
Mexico
taillight?
City. It's a nice
Ah.
car. You're gonna stop somebody. You know how it is."
Okay, that does make sense. I'm like, yep, that jives.
He says, "But I will try to figure out where they went to from there." How does that sound?
The police?
No,
Yeah.
no, the driver.
Oh,
Who they were meeting after that. Does that seem good?
oh yes.
But that's going to take a bit.
Oh,
That's the time
and
cost.
I heard where he went to. So, do you have a good idea of the area he was in?
Let me look into it, and I will get back to you.
Nice. You never cease to amaze me, Ted.
And I never will. Let's come to Jace.
So real quick,
Yeah.
do you want me to redo the roll that I had already done?
Which role?
Well, I had when we switched over to Bob, I'd already actually rolled for the research move.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, let's have you re-roll that then. Yes.
I'm glad we re-rolled it.
Okay. So what do you got?
Well, with mind, that's a cool 12.
Okay. So
As
number
opposed to the 9 I would have settled for.
yeah. So number one, we add 1 intel to the group.
Alrighty.
Okay.
And you're keeping track of the intel clock and
Yep.
everything?
Got the intel and gear recorded there. What is your basic question?
Who owns the building?
So the office building that we find that they see him at noon it belongs to a Mexican government official by the name of Gabriel Pareja.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the surface thing. However, the actual building itself is a corporate office for Metropolitana Global.
Okay.
And then you get a follow-up question.
Where would I find Pareja?
Pareja is one of those government officials who kind of moves around, but you can get a sense of what his schedule is like, and probably pin him down if you want him in a fairly public space that he can't squeeze out of, probably a restaurant. Does that seem
Gotcha.
fair?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's come to Holly, if we, Molly, sorry. What do you want to do?
Yeah, so since the safe house has some medical equipment, I'd like to see if I can find someone who might be more skilled at it than the three of us. So I'm
Okay.
looking for a street doc or something like that.
All right. Then do you want to just pay the credits for it? Is that your goal there, to have a street dock on site?
So my goal was to hit the streets, see if I could find someone,
Yeah.
and if possible, then pay the credits for them to possibly outfit us with some derm packs or something like that, so that we could potentially, if shit comes down, we could take care of each other.
Sure.
Yeah.
So let's have you go ahead and roll with style.
Okay. That is a 7.
That is a 7. So choose 2 from the list.
Yeah. It's going to take some time,
Okay.
and your contact's going to need you to help them out with something.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you'll find a street doc named Nazareth. She's worked in your circles before, and she says, "Yeah, I can. You pay. She'll 2 credits to get her on, on site, on staff, but you ask for derms, like to have those, and she's like, well, I can get them for you, but that supply's tight right now, so it's going to be a little while before I can get them."
And we've got to keep this quiet because we don't want to know that, we're working on a job, of course. So
Yeah. She goes, that's that sounds cool to me. She says, now, when this is done, I'm gonna need your help. I've got some people that have pushed in on my turf, and I need bullets put in heads. Can you do that?
bullets put in heads is expensive. Threats and threats of violence, I'll do for free for you. If it comes to it,
She says, clearing them off from my patch. That's what I want.
right.
Okay. Then we get
So
it.
threats first, violence later.
Okay.
If it doesn't work.
Yeah. You don't tell me how to cut someone's arm off. I won't tell you how to put a bullet in the head. We're all good. Okay.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I get very serious with Nasrat. And I say, this is very important. You cross us, you won't have any turf to worry about. I'm just saying.
Gotcha.
Yep.
You're a scary little girl. Bob, let's come back to you. You are muted.
There we go. Yes. What am I doing now?
What do you want to figure out? What do you want to look into? What do you want to do?
Okay, so now, Destello. So I didn't realize, because, I'm just still getting acquainted with this stuff. Could I use the Tev Edvar as that get a contact?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then I want to use, there's something else to get another contact. I know people, I think it said.
Yeah, let's look at your things. You've got once permission, you may introduce new contact.
Yes, I know people and roll with style.
Okay, so who is this new contact?
So this new person, let's see what name we get from the Great Generator. Clip Parse.
Okay.
Like Clippy and Parse it. All right,
And Clip Parse, it's a made-up name. What is Clip Parse's skill set?
Yeah. Clip Parse is the extreme assassin.
Okay.
Yeah, like, he looked like a Leon from The Professional.
Okay.
I'm one of those people, I send him jobs every once in a while, so I don't know why I'm going to him, because he would know.
All right, let's have you go ahead and roll with style then.
Excellent. Hopefully he doesn't shoot me, because I can never remember the knock pattern that he likes. All right. Trying to. There we go. Ooh, that was horrible. Can't hide it. Okay, so I have a style of 2. That was 6.
So just a 6. Okay. Tell me why Clip Parse doesn't like you.
Oh crap! I shorted him. It's always about money. You know,
It
the
is.
zeros and that dot and the commas, they get mixed up. Sometimes it comes out a little bit less than people expected.
And how do you contact him?
By phone. Encrypted channel. Since I forgot we were not, on the
And
best of terms.
he says, I hope you have my money.
I'm working on it. I have a job right now that as soon as it pays off, I'll be able to cover that little gap. When you try and go outside of Mexico City, the quality gets lower. And that's what happened. The Johnson didn't fully come through, but I got you covered. Out of my own pocket, I got you covered.
So what you're
That's how
saying
much
to
I love
me
you.
is that you do have my money and you have it in your pocket.
I putting it in my pocket as soon as the Johnson gives me the rest or gives me the money from this job.
Then why are you calling me?
Because I'm trying to get that extra money. We go back. This was a mess up. We've had so many good missions before that. This one time somebody screwed me, and I'm sorry, you got impacted too. Won't happen again. I'm trying to make it up. Things have been tight. So I just need a little help to get this
Damn
job done so
Skippy,
I
it
can
won't
pay you.
happen again.
You have the straightest shot. I look over my shoulder all the time. It won't be more than another day or 2.
Let's have you roll fast talk.
Oh man, I'm in so
Also,
much
don't
trouble.
forget if you roll a 6 or less, you get to mark XP.
Oh, okay. Thank you. A little compensation for
Yes.
this whooping I'm about to get. So, which one is fast talk
Fast talk
related
is with
to?
style.
Okay. Oh, I got lots of that. All right. This generator's killing me. That's all I gotta say. Dang it. I'm gonna roll on top of it, but I'm not gonna worry about it.
Okay, you can always clear the board. That's one of the options. There is you go.
Oh, just clear.
Just clear, and that'll clear everything that's on the table if you want to clear everything. And then
Yes.
you can make some dice.
I just wanted something that you folks could see. All right, so there I am, and I have 2, so 8.
8. What is it you want me to do?
All right. So something shady is going down, obviously, or else I wouldn't call you. And I'm just at a dead end. Have you heard anything about so I don't know if you know DJ Snow's in town. Well, her closest friend, this guy Cyrus Swan, is over in the Destello district with this driver. I'm trying to figure out who this driver is, how to get a hold of him, and what he does. And I know you're the best person when somebody's at a dead end, a roadblock, somehow you find a way. I don't know what kind of shadow network you got.
Yeah, this guy that you're talking about, this Ignacio guy.
Yeah, Ignacio.
Um,
Does he work for himself? Who does he work for? Does he owe somebody big?
from what I have picked up, recent chatter, he is definitely in somebody's pocket, corporate wise. What I can tell you is that your driver went down to the Cinta Costera, down heavily corp controlled traffic zone down there. And then somebody took that car, and the car vanished off the grid.
I assume the driver vanished too, or
That's a good question.
but I have to roll something or pay more?
He goes, no, 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 no. He says, I don't see the driver. I don't see the guy who was carrying, so it's one of two things. Either they are down at that location, or they're in a hole down at that location. Problem is getting down there. That's a corp monitored area. And if you can drive in, you have to be quiet about it.
Yeah, they don't like me.
Join the club.
Hey, I got you covered. Clip.
You say you got me covered. I will believe that when I see it.
Hey, couple days, I'm right there.
Okay, Bob.
And I'll have a little aged rum just for you.
Okay. All right. All right. I like it. Yeah. Okay. We'll do that.
Excellent. I'll end the call. Oops.
Let's come to Jace.
Quick housekeeping question.
Sure.
Have we started the mission yet?
No, we are right now in the legwork phase.
All right.
And
so
I'll-
you'll
I'll
remind
t-
me about the notes for a story and starting the mission?
Yeah. So
Okay.
let me tell you what the legwork phase means. Is you get a chance to do, these things to generate intel, to generate gear, to find out information. When you don't roll well, or as a cost to some of these things, what I'm doing is I'm increasing the legwork clock.
Gotcha.
And the higher that is, that means a chance that the opposition is alerted. But that isn't until you get up to the top of it. But the other thing that it is when you go to get paid, you roll with the number of segments that you haven't yet marked on the legwork phase.
Mhm.
So potentially better getting paid if you go in a little bit without information in the dark.
All right. I want to hit the street to see if I can find any information from my usual contacts about Gabriel Pareja.
Okay.
See if I can get any dirt on the dude. Find out if he's, well, not if he's crooked, but specifically how, who he's connected to, who he's caught up with, who he owes. Because these guys, yeah, they're in the pocket of the corporations, but they need to get dirty work done by a whole lot of the people who actually like me because I tell their family stories. So,
Let's have you go ahead and roll with style.
oh dear, that is not good.
What is that?
That is a 5, so I will mark XP.
Yes. The good news is you get to mark XP.
I'm beginning to dread that sentence.
Yeah, that when I play with Rich, that's how I came to learn to draw that a sentence. Essentially, you will hit to go to check on that, and this guy has gone to ground. Like when you go to follow up on him, something is clearly up, and he has essentially vanished off the grid. So whatever part he played in this op, he's now gone into hiding. Does that seem fair?
No, but this isn't a world where fair seems to matter for
Fair
much.
enough. Cyberpunk. Let's come back to Molly.
Yeah, so I think that I'm going to make sure that my friend Nesserat doesn't have anything else to think about or to worry about. And I'm going to go put some pressure on the characters that were horning in on her area.
Okay. Are you going to go play hardball with Edge? Are you going to more fast talk, or do you think we're actually mixing up with meat?
I'm going to go threaten them.
Okay, so you're playing hardball.
And yes, and if they do not follow through and I believe them, then I'm going to mix it up.
Okay, yeah. So essentially, They need to do what you asked them to do, or you're going to mess them up.
That's right. And, you know, unlike what Molly normally does, in this case, she is very obvious about her job. She is wearing open weapons, open armor. There's none of this, hiding what she does. She is walking down the street with these guys in mind.
Okay. So yeah, you'll pop up on this set of three. Essentially, they are running synth plastiskin stuff and cheap street mixed together healing things, and you roll up on them. What do you say? What do we see on screen with this sort of Three Stooges trio of cyberpunk poor man's Ripper Docs?
Right. So I think that they're like in the middle of a negotiation with a customer. There's a customer who is, obviously jonesing a little bit and you know, wants some drugs to calm down, wants some medicine. And I walk up and that makes the customer very nervous. And the three of them, you know, kind of take everything in. And I lean over and I say, um, my friend Nasrat um, wanted to send her greetings. And just so you know, you don't have to die. You just have to leave.
Let's have you roll with edge.
I don't have a good edge. But I rolled a 9.
Rolled a 9.
Yes.
So choose. I get to choose one.
Hmm.
So I think they you get in their face. They back off, and they puff their chest a little bit, but then they back away, and essentially, you hear one of them say, "That was Takeda. That was Molly. You do not fuck with her." And they're like, "What the hell was she doing with Nazarat? It must be something up." And as they head off, and I will, as my move on that, I'm going to tick the clock up by 1 on the legwork phase.
In that case, and that's great.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that consequence. But I want to plug the one who said my name.
Okay.
So I'll mix it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's have you go ahead and roll with meat.
That's an 11.
Tell me what that looks like. They're walking away, talking, and then.
And as soon as I hear the name and I realize this is a compromise, that basically I've been compromised, and I pull out the weapon and I plug the guy who said my name, but he's already gotten out everything about there must be something up. Nasrat must know what's going on. There's some stuff happening. And then it's just like the lights turn off.
Okay.
I plug him, he goes down, and the other two bolt.
Okay.
And I think I tell them, as they run away, I shout out, nothing happened. You never saw me. But of course,
they're looking
yeah.
back at the body of their dead friend. Yeah. Okay. That
Yeah.
That makes sense to me.
And I think I turn around and walk away, and I think the customer just kind of looks at me and then looks at the body, and I think he takes the body around the corner to strip it.
Absolutely. Yeah. They go in and grab things up. So, Bob,
Yep.
coming back to you, what is the next step? Do you want to move on a location? Do you need to do more research? What do you think is where you guys at?
So personally, I'll just kind of check in. Oh, I have to get that autograph.
Yeah.
So I let Mrs. Swan know if she could just help me out with a small favor. Be much appreciated. Wasn't sure if that was a roll.
I think actually this is a fast talk to because this is
Oh,
a needed thing. So let's have you roll with style.
man, I tell you, I ooze with this stuff. I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah, style is my it. All right, I'm gonna clear. I'm gonna throw 2 in there. I kind of wish it would keep those numbers in there. Oh, Google has a roller, and I crushed it. 13.
13.
That's awesome.
So yeah, and I think do you want? I'll actually for a 13 plus because it's kind of an add-on thing. Do you want an Intel or a Gear?
Now what is Intel good for again? I
So Intel
apologize.
allows you to on the fly say, "Oh, I found out about this as we were preparing. This is what's going on, and I'll get a +1 to my roll."
All right, I'm gonna take the Intel.
Okay, so you guys have 2
And not
Intel.
only that, when I
Pardon?
spend intel and give Newton advice on my research, the entire team takes 1 forward to follow the advice.
Ooh, that is nice.
Oh, so I could do that now
Uh,
or later.
I think with that, that's
Jade.
when once we get rolling on the
Okay.
mission, I think you can do that. But yeah,
Cool. So yeah, I thank her very much. DJ Snow, I really hate to come back and impose. Not usually what I do, but you are such an impressive person. And somebody kind of found out. They just wanted a little bit of, or they found out that I knew you.
she does ask,
And,
"Do you have any information yet?"
oh, we're closing in. There's definitely some obvious corporate connections. And if you can happen to think of anybody lately, corporate wise, who's been against you, I think that would always be helpful. But we're gonna find out exactly who. Don't worry. But it's definitely the corp.
Okay, and that at least seems to assure her that you guys have made some progress.
Nice. Whew.
Let's come back to you, Jace.
I'm thinking I want to try something, but I'm going to need some backup for this. And so I call Molly.
Okay.
Okay.
So I had a line on the guy who owns the building, and he's gone to ground. So, as my dad used to tell me,
It's not the guy who owned the building. It's the official that was using the building.
the official is using the building.
Yeah.
My dad used to tell me, if you can't do something smart, do something bold. How would you feel about trying to fast talk our way into an MG office? Thing is, the way that I have the idea I have for doing it means I need to have somebody who is obvious muscle with me as a bodyguard.
I can be a bodyguard. I'm not sure I can talk. We can try it. I wouldn't turn it down. What's your
I need you to stand there and look serious. Like that you have absolutely no problem killing every single person in the place.
no problem. What are you trying to get?
Well, narrowed it down to Swan going into this MG office in this building. So I want to walk in there and, quite simply bluff. And we'll see what that gets us. And I may need some help with an exit strategy. Or maybe I just need somebody to stand there and look like we're ready to take delivery of whatever it was that he was there for.
I guess, should I come ready for extraction, hoping that we get Swan, or should I come setting things up so that whenever we come back to get Swan, we have the ground laid?
To clarify what you know about the timeline again.
He wasn't there. We know he left.
Yeah, an office. This particular office building he was at noon, and at 2 p.m. the car was seen driving south down that controlled road.
Did we have any confirmation that he was actually in the car at that time?
I haven't had a chance to do that yet.
quick call to Bob.
Okay.
Hey.
So, do you know if he was actually in the car after he left the office building? Molly wants
No.
to know if she needs to come prepped for extraction or to pave the way for extraction.
I don't know if he was in the car. My assumption is he was not. Um, I'm assuming sorry, just out of character. I'm assuming I'm keeping you guys updated text-wise or somehow
Oh yeah.
about what I know, so I won't repeat that. All right, back in. So yeah, no, I don't think I assumed he wasn't in the car, but I'm assuming.
How quickly can you get to the to that Ignacio driver?
He's pretty much out of our reach. I could try and pull some deep favors, but he's in the corp controlled area, and he hasn't come back yet. We'll say that. That's where the south is. Sorry, it's all corp controlled.
So it
So
sounds.
basically, what we
Go
know
ahead.
at this point is that the last place he was actually seen is this office building.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the belief is that he's either in this office building and never left, or he went to corp-controlled territory, which is a bad idea, and is either there dead or is there being held prisoner. However, we also know that the driver paid off the cops.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. So the intel I got on that is just a routine stop. I mean,
Okay.
from some not above the law sources. So I'm trusting it.
Yeah.
Right,
that-
but
that's
if
confirmed.
he paid off the cops, why would he pay off the cops and spend money he didn't have to spend?
Well, see, I think Swan paid the cops, is what I think. And then the driver continued on to his destination of the office building.
MG building. Yeah.
Yeah, I think in the office building, something went down, and I personally don't believe he came out. Nobody's mentioned him coming out. They just saw the driver going away. I never asked that question specifically because I just assumed.
Right.
Okay,
So,
Bob,
Mhm.
you gotta have at least one hacker on speed dial, right?
Oh, of course. I mean, I'm sure they cost a little money, but what move would I do to get my hacker people on it?
Hit the street to get a hacker.
Nice.
I mean,
All
we
right.
just need one cam of that car showing only one person in it.
That's what we're gonna do, or that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go hit the streets
Okay.
because I know a guy who knows a guy. And it's from the neighborhood. I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, Papito, check this out for me. So let's see, style, reroll. All right. So 7 + 2, 9. So I got a 9 on that one.
Okay. Now, I will say, let's remember that we do have aid or interfere. You can roll with links to help somebody or give them a penalty.
Alrighty. I would like to. Well, hold on. Who has links with Bob? Is that me? No, I've got a link with Squirrel.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe Kurt did. I'm not sure. But I have a link to you, Jace.
I think I also have a link to Jace, and I just wrote it down wrong.
Okay.
That's Kurt. Yeah.
No. I see where my friends are. No, just kidding.
So, I think I know someone from the neighborhood that I'm going to help you with, and I'm going to see if I can, make sure that you make a connection with someone who is honorable.
Nice.
So roll with a +1.
So I'm going to roll help, and I got a 6.
Okay. So you will be able to help. I am moving my clock up.
Dun dun.
You now have 2 segments left on your legwork phase clock.
Wow, that goes quick.
It seems slow at the start, but it goes quick.
Yeah.
But don't you get to mark XP for that?
Yes, he does.
And quick question, what did the help? Was it enough to help me? I guess.
It was not.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. So we'll read it as a success. So the original thing before we rolled the help was
9.
9.
Oh, hit the streets at 9.
Okay. So let's take it at 10 plus. So do you want intel or gear for that?
Ooh, I'm gonna take some intel.
Okay. We'll put that under clocks. And the hacker will look and says, it looks like there's nobody besides the driver in the car, but they've got a simple hollow filter up. When I do the diffraction on it, and there's 2 people in the back, and judging by the metal detection that I'm getting off of it, it looks like being held at gunpoint.
Wow, good
2
job,
people in the
Jace.
back.
All right.
Yeah. So driver, somebody being held, and a person holding them.
Mm.
And that leaves from that office building and heads to that southern area.
Man, do you know? Oh, can I ask him? Can I ask him if he knows who owns the car? What corporation? I mean, I guess we can assume MG.
He says, well, it's a private. He says it's the driver, the private driver, owns it, but who knows who's bankrolling him on the ground.
Gotcha. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Kicking ass. So do I have to pick 2 of these things from this list? Oh no, I got.
No,
the
you got.
10.
I gave you the
Okay.
10 plus. Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha. All right, Jace, that was a good question. I guess we go to the south, huh?
Unless you think there's anything of value we can gain from the office building, I think the office building is pretty much burnt. But it kind of makes me wonder, considering that Gabriel Pareja, his name popped up with the building.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if we can find any records of him owning property down in that area.
Ooh.
Because if we can, 10 to get me 20, that might be the hole that Ignacio is hiding in.
Nice. That's way better than my thought. It was just MG.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me if he's taking their money.
Again, the office building that you were talking about, Pareja did not own.
Yeah, but he was operating out of it as. So that's why I'm looking at it as how is he connected? Why did his name pop up? It came up for a reason.
So what do you want to do?
Can I roll research again?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
So Molly's getting nervous and she's kind of getting antsy. She's walking and pacing a little bit. Just role playing, not pushing.
Alrighty, so research I roll with mind, and that gives me 8, unless anybody wants to try to assist, which could advance the mission clock forward.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely assist. I should have been doing this earlier.
You can only one person could assist
with the link.
So that would just take it up to a +1. So it would just take you to a 9.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, let's.
Not as helpful.
Yeah, there's no point in rolling for that.
But you do get intel for that.
At a 9?
Yeah, the 7 to 9 you take.
7 to 9 is an intel plus an answer, a question answer.
So
I just don't get the bonus question.
I think that what you can do with the Pareja connection is to narrow down what he is of the MG sort of corporate interests, that he is associated with RPM, like before anything else. That's the sort of the of the three competing corporations, that's the one that he's involved with, and which suggests to you that at least narrows down what corporation might have those buildings down there, down to like let's say 3 down there. That would be RPM in that area. Does that seem like a fair narrowing?
Fair enough. So now we're down to 3.
And I think this is actually, we're going to stop since we're almost at mission execution. Does that seem fair?
Yeah.
Sounds fair enough.
Yeah. One thing I didn't do last time that I'd like to do at the end of each mission, and this would have been from last session, you get to say another character that you essentially learn something about, and add a link with them. So, Bob, if we think back to the last mission, did you learn something more about Molly or about Jace in the course of that?
In the just today's mission though, right?
No, not the mission we're on right now, but the one we did in the first session. I should have done this.
So it'd have
then.
to be Kurt's character, actually.
Okay. Yeah, then you can, and we'll get his name.
I was just looking for his name.
That's Squirrel.
Squirrel.
Yeah.
Thank you. So yeah, Squirrel.
Yeah. So you can add one link with Squirrel.
Perfect.
Molly, what about you?
I think I watched Squirrel and how crazy he was with that car, and I learned how crazy he really is. So
Okay.
yeah, Squirrel.
Squirrel. And what about you, Jace?
You know, I'd always seen Bob around the nave and just thought he was like kind of a talking suit that kind of walked around shaking hands and smiling a lot. But I realized after seeing all of that this is a dude who is cool under fire. Like, he just does not flinch. And I gained a lot of respect for him as a result of it. I mean, bullets flying everywhere. Still in a nice suit, but damn, he did not freak.
Nice. Yeah.
Nice. Thank you.
Also, you accepted job, and you move further on the investigation segments. There's a clock for getting XP, so you're going to get 2 more XP.
Oh, nice. We write down the 2 XP. That's not on the sheet.
Yeah, you just write it down. It's under the notes is where people have been putting that.
Oh, there we go.
So as I went to look some stuff up, I just noticed that both Jace and Bob have neural interfaces that interacts with research. Is that right?
Oh,
So they
thank
get
you.
extra intel?
Oh, yeah.
I did not do a research this time, but
Okay.
I'm gonna do it more often.
Yeah. You know what we'll throw one more intel on the Barbie for that.
Oh, sweet. Thank you.
Just so we remember it.
We are flush with intel.
Yeah. Those are +1 forwards. And some of you are, looks like Molly, Jace, you are at 9 XP.
Mm-hmm.
Let's give everybody an extra XP. And because when you hit 10, you get an advance. Or how close are you, Bob?
I was just at 8 before you gave the 1.
Okay, so we're going to give 2 then. So roll over 1 for Molly and Jace, and Bob go to 10, and we'll do an advance next time, because it's always fun to take an advance.
Nice, nice.
Okay?
Is that something we can hold on to until we need it?
Yeah, we can do that, especially because we're doing a short-term game. Yeah.
Okay.
So next time we'll carry out the mission and do the aftermath of that and stuff.
All right.
Sound good?
Perfect. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop the stream here.